Hello guys, my name is xRellic and you guys are watching the third episode of Philosophical Fridays, and today I'm going to be talking about something that has been questioned for the longest time in philosophy, and that is the existence of God. And people have always tried to prove the existence of God, and today I'm going to be going over the argument, the ontological argument, which is basically the argument that says God is the greatest conceivable being, and the greatest conceivable being, its qualities are the greatest in every aspect, including that it exists. And it's an interesting argument because it gives God the definition of existing. If you give a being the greatest possible qualities, but say it doesn't exist, that's not the greatest conceivable being. You can conceive of a being that has all the same qualities, but also exists. And that second being would be greater than the first, which didn't exist. So it makes sense in your mind, if you think about it, that quote-unquote the greatest conceivable being would be one that exists. And people used to say that because the greatest conceivable being has to exist, and God is the greatest conceivable being, then God must exist. But that's just the basic idea. I kind of wanted to go over my response, because I actually went over this in one of my final essays, and I got an A on it, and kind of broke it down in an interesting way. What I said is that you can conceive of the greatest conceivable being, and you can conceive that this being must exist by definition. But that doesn't mean it truly does exist in reality. It must exist in your imagination. I could conceive of the greatest conceivable unicorn, and that unicorn must exist. That is just part of its definition of being the greatest conceivable unicorn, that it must exist. And it is obviously a faulty method of logic to say that anything that is the greatest conceivable being of any sort has to exist because that is the greatest conceivable type. It is just because you give something a definition in your mind doesn't mean it actually follows that definition in reality. And I think that is how people responded to the ontological argument of God, of the existence of God initially. Because this is that belief that God is the greatest conceivable being and the greatest conceivable being must exist, or else it's not the greatest conceivable being, is one of the initial arguments for the existence of God. And my response, or a similar type of response, that just because you can imagine something and give it a certain definition doesn't make it follow that definition in reality and make that definition true, was the response to this initially very common argument for the existence of God. So what do you guys think about that argument? Do you think it's a good argument that because you can conceive that God has to exist, that it really does exist? Or do you guys kind of follow my point of view, my argument that just because you think of something and that you think that it has to exist doesn't actually mean that it really does exist? Now, as this gameplay goes on, I did want to mention something about this gameplay because I have a gigantic complaint that you guys will see in a bit. This is a 15-2 using the KILLCAM in 5 rounds. And you guys might be thinking, a 15-2 in 5 rounds? That's weird. You don't normally post that kind of scoreline, Relic. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I normally don't. And so far, I think I'm 13-0 in 3 rounds. And I get this kill and I get killed, and I'm like, all right, fair enough, bro. That was a nice kill. You can chalk that one up to me getting outplayed because I didn't check that side. He managed to wallbang me because he caught me killing his friend, and I managed to pick up the kill on me. So I was like, all right, fine, fair enough, whatever. We'll just win this next round. And next round is where I'm like, David Vonderhaar, come the fuck on. Just watch this. Just watch this for a second. I have my hunter killer, and I'm like, all right, bro. I'm just gonna throw that up. I'll get a kill off the bat, and I'm gonna go underneath because I didn't like that guy killing me across last round. So I'm like, I'm gonna go underneath. I'm gonna get a few kills under here and then run. So I outgunned this guy barely, and I'm like red screen. I'm like, oh god, okay. I'm gonna. What the fuck just killed me? And watch what happened. Watch what happened. I get C4'd from the floor above. That C4 killed me through the floor. I've never seen anything like it. It's complete bullshit. I was pretty freaking choked. But I thought that it'd be kind of cool to talk about and show you guys that that you can apparently get C4 through the floor now. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.